Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dear Sports. We have a bit of a different background than we are used to, and that is because we are now a part of Rogue Media. I am so excited about today's episode. We have on Gabe Craig. Gabe has picked up 5 All-American honors this postseason. He was a right-handed pitcher for the Baylor Bears, where he finished the 2025 season with a 3-0 record and earned 10 saves in 32 innings, struck out 51 batters, and walked just 3, holding opponents to a 124 batting average. Hope you enjoy this episode, and make sure to like and subscribe to Dear Sports. Gabe, hi.
Faith, I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Yeah. I'm so excited. This is season 2 of Dear Sports in a new studio. Looks a lot of fresh. This is one of those episodes that I'm so excited because we have so much to talk about. And just you have so much going on with Baylor and draft, and there's a lot of layers to your story. So yeah, thanks for coming, and I'm excited to talk about all the things today.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Let's get into it.
Yes. Okay. So you really had like a big breakout season. Your last season at Baylor. Kind of talk about like maybe some emotions of that, and you have a long story of starting at JUCO, going to A&M, going back to JUCO, coming to Baylor. Like, kind of just give us an overarching like opinion or feel on all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I just have a lot of gratitude for this season. It was really cool to, my, career journey, whatever you want to call it, for baseball, especially, in college is definitely a little off the beaten path of, for what most people go through. So, having a lot of like just different things in that sense really made me super grateful for just to have this season, and kind of after having some different adversities and going through a lot of different stuff to be able to come in and be at Baylor, for my last year. I loved it here. This place has given so much to me, and be able to just go out there, and it was just a lot of fun, I got to do it with guys I've been playing with, some teammates I was really close with, and it was really special to do it wearing a Baylor uniform, and kind of ended on a high note.
That's really sweet. And I mean, like 5 All-American honors, right?
Pretty cool.
Dude, that's insane.
I know. It's funny. I was coming back into this year. It was kind of one of those things. I was like, okay, I know this is my last year. I'd always wanted to be an All-American, and I always knew I could. So coming back, I kind of told a few of my teammates and some different people, I was like, I'm either like, if I come back, they might as well cut me in August, or I'm going to be an All-American. So that was kind of my mindset coming into it. So, really cool to see, a lot of perseverance and hard work pay off, and it just means a lot. And I couldn't have done it without just so many different people, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But just my teammates, pitching coaches, and just all that. It's been awesome. Yeah,
that's really sweet. And I mean, I think too, to like look at your whole experience of all the different levels, and like you said, to finish it in a Baylor jersey, like that's really sweet. And so especially to a program that has kind of been through the ringer the past couple of years, and so to come out of the program 5-time All-American, like all this stuff, like you're leaving it a better place than you found it at first, and so I think that's also really cool. But
it is, because when I came in, I was with the new coaching staff when Coach Thompson got here, and I went through the ringer with all those guys too, for that first year. And then, that second year, you're still kind of figuring a lot of things out. So it means a lot to me just to see the program moving in the right direction, and to kind of be a part of that with those other guys I got to play with, to kind of, leave it, in a better spot and leave it headed in the right direction. And, I'm excited for what's to come for it. But yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. So cool. That's why, I don't know, just being a Baylor ex-athlete now, I guess, which that's weird, right? Like,
we're both at Baylor ex-athletes. It's crazy.
It's weird, but it makes me excited because I'm like, it's Baylor. Like, we're just better, And so I think it's kind of cool to see that turn that corner. But your journey is kind of, I don't want to say it's more normal, but kind of what we're starting to see with college athletics, of in the portal, out of the portal, whatever. Like, we just have people going all over the place. And so baseball, it's typical. My brother's playing at JUCO right now. That's kind of normal to start at JUCO, especially with, what is it? If you want to enter the draft, you have to stay at a 4-year for 2 years. Is that
so
how that works?
It's weird. In baseball, if you go to junior college, I mean, you could get drafted either year there. Your age does not matter.
Okay.
If you're at a 4-year school, you have to be 21 or a junior.
Oh, I didn't
so those are
realize that.
kind of the. So a lot of guys, junior college, if they are wanting to like get drafted sooner, sometimes like junior college is an option for that. So it's kind of weird how it all works, but.
Yeah, and so you're a pitcher, and so you started off in JUCO. Was that like your full intention of like, I'm out of high school, I'm going JUCO because I want to enter the draft, or this just was the place for me? What was your path through college baseball?
Yeah, I was honestly, for me, it wasn't really because of the draft. I was honestly a little bit of a late bloomer as far as like where I was with my baseball, kind of not until my senior year I really started to develop a little bit more. And, you know, I had some different offers, some different places, but to me, I felt like junior college, I developed a good relationship with those coaches in Tyler growing up, and got to know them a little bit and heard really good things. And TJC at the time had been winning a lot.
They're really good.
And so I just felt like it was going to be a really good spot to, you know, get my feet under me a little bit and, you know, college athletics, and kind of develop a little bit. And I still didn't know, you know, a lot about myself as a player and pitcher. So that was like a really impactful period for me, in regards to that. And then also it just kind of gave me junior college baseball is so much fun because, you know, you kind of don't have, when you get to the next level, there's a lot of extra stuff you got to deal with. And, you know, when you're in junior college, you just get to play baseball. That's about it. And so I think it's really good. It's a really good experience, and it teaches you a lot about the game. So, I honestly didn't even, you know, it's crazy because I dealt with some injuries in high school, my junior and senior year, and I wasn't even sure if I was going to play baseball.
Really?
I was still kind of deciding, and pretty late, I was like, you know what, it's been my dream. Like, I can't give it up, right? So I ended up going to junior college, and it just kind of took off from there. So it's pretty crazy.
That's awesome. What injuries to your arm, I'm assuming? Yeah,
so I honestly didn't really know. I didn't even pitch my senior year of high school. I just played the field, which is crazy. And I've been a pitcher all my career in college. But it was probably my thoracic outlet. I was dealing with some early symptoms of that, which I did end up getting surgery for when I was at A&M. I don't think I knew what was going on at the time, so I kind of just rested it my senior year of high school, and then it got a little better, and then kind of started to come back later on. But so that was kind of what I was dealing with. But
and through the recruiting process, was that like a factor for staff, or do you think that's why you ultimately went to JUCO?
I think that was part of it because like I didn't even pitch, and I knew I wanted to pitch. For me, I knew pitching was kind of my avenue, so that was a part of the decision too. Like, hey, I didn't have a ton of other opportunities because I really didn't have a lot of other opportunities. So, which I'm grateful because that was a great place to be. So, and I think the Lord really led me there. So that was cool.
Yeah, I think JUCO players just build different, personally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, my brother's playing JUCO baseball right now, and like you said, you are just there playing baseball, and he's taking like underwater basket weaving, like online. Like,
it's crazy.
What are you doing?
It is junior college. I mean, the kind of stories you hear from people, but it's so much fun. I mean, it's a grind, especially some places, and you do have to, you know, we all call ourselves JUCO bandits, so it's kind of a thing, but it's cool. I'm proud to be a JUCO bandit for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So JUCO do really well. And then you're also in the special class of COVID, which that is just like, you're 2 years older than me. You're 6th year, and we both graduated college at the same time, which is just crazy to me. I'm like, that just shouldn't have happened.
No, but it's crazy.
So we went to JUCO in 2020?
2020 was that first season that I had,
Okay, and then do great. And go to A&M. How was that process?
Crazy. It was honestly crazy. I think it was a God thing. I mean, obviously didn't end up working out at A&M, but, you know, we were playing. I was doing really well. Season was going well. And then just like out of nowhere, it's like, hey, the rest of the season's canceled. Like, everything's over. And, you know, no one knows what's happening. And that was a crazy time. And, you know, a lot of guys, when they go to junior college, you play for 2 years before you leave.
Right.
So it was a little bit out of the ordinary for me to leave after 1 year, but I'd already been kind of talking with that staff a little bit, and they really, you know, COVID with the roster, different things, they wanted me to come in that year, you know, and it was just kind of a crazy opportunity that happened like in June, I was pitching still, training, and they were like, hey, we actually like want you to come this year, and like gave me an offer. And, I was obviously wanted to go play at the next level. So it was like a no brainer for me. And so, I ended up at A&M, and it was crazy that it all happened because, I was forever, after COVID, the season got canceled. I was set on like coming back.
Okay.
And going back to TJC and playing, and then kind of came out of nowhere. And it all worked out really well. So I was like, I gotta, take this opportunity and go play.
Yeah. I can't imagine, because I started college January 21. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of right after that whole COVID thing. So I came into college like going to class with a mask on, just because whatever. And our postseason got pushed to spring. So I came in and I was like, okay, I'm going to train, like get better, all the things. And then I walk in and it's like, hey, we're actually training for a national championship. I wasn't eligible to play, but I'm practicing with these girls. And so just looked totally different. But I can't imagine like being in the heat of season and then
it was weird.
It's just like stopping. I don't know. That just doesn't register in my, especially with baseball. Like you're kind of playing all year round too, like spring or fall ball. And that's crazy. So go to A&M. Talk about your experience at A&M a little bit.
Yeah. Honestly, I did not grow up an Aggie at all.
It's not either.
I was not like an A&M fan or any of that. It just was one of those things, like I had the opportunity and, it's a good program in the SEC. And I was like, I'm going to go play here.
SEC baseball.
Yeah. Great. Really good. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I enjoyed it. I made a lot of good friendships there. Kind of came in that fall. I was doing well. Started dealing with some injuries. I wasn't really sure with my arm. The same symptoms I felt in high school started coming back a little bit. And, I went and did all the MRIs and all this stuff. And they're like, nothing's wrong. Like, we don't see anything wrong. Like, your elbow, shoulder, everything looks good. Like, we'll give you a shot and keep playing. So it's like, okay, I guess that's what I'm going to do. So did that, kept throwing, came back in the spring. Just didn't feel like myself. Just dealing with a lot of stuff still with the arm, like just really struggling. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. Like my arm's hurting. Like I just don't feel right. Like I'm just not playing at the level I know I can. So I ended up shutting down after like 2 innings that year at the beginning of the spring, and ended up figuring out I was dealing with some thoracic outlet, which is basically, it's not, to simplify it, it's basically where your nerves in your arm get like pinched, and so they kind of, you deal with like inflammation, like nerve pain, like numbness, things like that. So I got surgery for that in the spring, where they go in and I don't know if I've told you this before.
No, this is new.
I know. So they go in and they take your rib out.
Shut up.
I know. They take your first rib out. So basically like go in and take the rib out right here, and then take another muscle out up here, and it basically like opens up. There's like a little cavity that your nerves run through, and it like helps open up that space. And so that's what I did.
Wow.
And it was I'd not really known about what it was before.
Yeah.
It was a crazy surgery. It kind of started, it's honestly newer within the last like 10 or so years, where they've started to figure out more, that's the cause of a lot of symptoms for these guys that they didn't know in the past. So ended up getting surgery for that and rehabbing all summer. And it was crazy. And then our coaches at A&M ended up switching coaching staff, so I had to go back to A&M again with a new coaching staff while I was coming back.
How was that with
injury.
Like recovery and new staff, all of that? I tore my ACL in high school, junior year. Terrible. Like,
that's awful.
Thank the Lord, I was committed to Baylor, great staff. We're like, hey, we're going to pray for you. I was terrified to call them and be like, hey, I am going to come to you a little broken. I'll be, at 11 months by the time I get there. But I can't imagine having a brand new staff.
Yeah.
And
it was a little scary. Because it was like, I didn't get to throw all season. So it's not like they could go back and see me pitch. I just gotten surgery, so I wasn't set to start like throwing again until December, which is after the entire fall season. And so our coaches leave, we get in this whole new staff, and you're kind of like, what am I going to do? Because it's like, am I going to be able to come back? And I didn't really have a choice, right? Because it's, where am I going to go? I'm hurt and I didn't throw. So But yeah, I was. I know.
Like, please pick me.
I know. But no, they wanted me to come back in the fall, and came back in the fall, but wasn't really with the team much. I mean, with the guys, I got to know. I made a lot of good friendships from that team, and still talk to some of those guys. But I wasn't. I was just rehabbing, so I wasn't throwing. So I kind of got to the end of the fall, and luckily I was blessed. Like, the training staff that came in was awesome, and did a really good job and helped me out a ton. There, our trainer, and so rehab, did all that, but got to the end of the fall, and you're doing your exit meetings and stuff, talking about the spring, and I still hadn't picked up a baseball yet.
Oh gosh.
And so it's one of those things. It was like, hey, like, you're not going to throw at all this spring. I wouldn't have been ready till like March, and they hadn't seen me throw. So it was kind of one of those things, like how the rosters were. It's like I wasn't going to be on the roster. So I'd have to basically
with like an overflow of people because of COVID.
Yeah, COVID. Yeah. You had COVID, and then you have like, it was crazy. Yeah, I mean, and there was no like roster limits either from the year before. So you had like, 55 guys on a roster where you can travel 27 in conference,
smokes.
Things like that. It's crazy, right? Yeah. Because, that COVID year, they didn't set any roster limits.
Yeah.
And so it was just it was hectic.
That's such a unique.
And so I was like, I don't want to come back and sit through an entire season, not be able to not be on the roster, like anything like that, because I was rehabbing. And for me, I felt like the best thing I could do, I prayed about it a lot. It was hard because I was like, I wanted to be there.
That's the dream.
It was just like hard because, you make all these relationships with these guys, and I'd already had to, you leave JUCO once and you finally get comfortable, and then you're at a new place. You finally get comfortable, and then your coaches leave, and then you come back, and it's like, okay, again, honestly, at that point, like even in my faith, it was kind of hard because I'm like, every time I feel like I'm kind of getting any sort of stability, it felt like I kept getting uprooted. And so, that was really hard for me. I prayed a lot about it, and was trying to figure out what I was going to do for that spring. And, I knew for me, like, I wanted to play. I'd basically had 2 years where I didn't get to play at all because of COVID and then surgery. And the coaches that I had relationships with are still at TJC, and so I ended up going back there, which was crazy.
Which that like does not happen
ever. Yeah, I know. Ever.
I was like obviously doing my research, and I'm looking, and I was like, he went back? I was like, that has to be a typo. Like, there's just no way. That just doesn't happen. Like, oh my gosh. And so many good things you said. I think with this new era of college athletics and all of this stuff of people, like, you're just not going to have any like alumni schools anymore. Is what's going to happen. It's like crazy. You're going to have people just like hop everywhere. And so to your point of, you are at a JUCO, you finally get comfortable, then your staff changes, and then like people don't realize, like, that's hard.
It's really hard.
That is hard. Yeah. And people are like, oh, I'm just gonna go because of the. I'm like, no, you don't understand. And you could be moving to a totally different state, totally different city, new people. They don't like you. Like, I've had tons of friends transfer, and because they're not playing, and it's like, hey, I want to go play. And I think too, it's great that you have to make decisions for yourself in this field. I've told so many high school girls, I'm like, you can be selfish right now. Like, you can decide what you want out of your college experience. If you want to play, if you want to be at your dream school, like, you really have to take ownership of your college career, because it's going to look so different for a lot of people. And that's okay. I think it's whatever. But I've had so many friends transfer and are like, yeah, I'm playing. I got what I wanted, but like, these girls are not nice, and I don't like the staff.
That's the thing.
Like, people just don't. Like, people just don't get it.
They don't. No, and honestly, like, I didn't want to. I had no choice but to leave A&M after that.
Yeah.
After the fall, it was like, hey, you can't be on the roster, like, or we don't have room for you because you're hurt. And so I was like, I had to leave. Yeah. Like, I didn't want to, and that's why it was like so frustrating because, it's a weird, like, especially that was kind of like on the early end of all that kind of starting to happen with the transfer portal.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why I'm just so grateful I could kind of be at, in the midst of that. It was hard because it kind of, it's almost like you have to swallow your pride a little bit.
Absolutely.
Because you're like, man, I'm going back to junior college. Like, I was just there. Like, everyone goes to junior college and they work so hard to get,
next level.
Away from it. And I was like, I'm going back to like square one where I started. And, with guys I played with 2 years ago that were still there. And so, because of COVID, so everyone came back on that team, and then they're playing their second year. So there was a bit of that where I was like, man, this is like, you know, it sucked, but it's cool now, just looking back, all the perspective you can have on it, and just like seeing how God was leading my footsteps too, because, I'm so grateful to have been at Baylor these last 3 years for so many different reasons, despite different ups and downs. But, just being able to, like you talked about earlier, having a place you can kind of like plant your flag, be an alumni of, and like, that's kind of your school. That you don't see a lot of that anymore, which to me, it's cool to have that, and I think it's getting more rare to see guys that have that. So
yeah, that's just nuts. Yeah, I'm 6th generation Baylor Bear.
I know. So, that's awesome. That's pretty cool.
Like, my dream was to go to Baylor. Like, that's all I wanted. And so my college career looked a little different than probably most people, but for me, that was like the dream. And I got to, go to Sweet 16 3 times and like all the things. But so you get to Baylor or you go through your second round of JUCO, get healthy, and then you're recruited by the new staff at Baylor. Kind of talk about playing for Baylor and then Coach Snedeker last season, kind of like looping you in.
It's, kind of crazy. I honestly Baylor wasn't even on my radar originally. Hadn't really talked to them at all. It was kind of getting later in that summer after my junior college season and talking to a couple different schools, and, again, like, it's just cool to see like God's orchestrating like my footsteps, because the new staff at Baylor got hired, and Coach Thompson called me and was like, "Hey, like, be really interested. We've heard a lot of good things about you. Like, we'd love to have you up here." And I was like, I'm close by. Right. I'll drive up for a visit and just see like how it goes. So I came up like pretty late, like around this time before like the fall season started. Okay. And I don't know. I don't really know what it was. I just felt like, this was the place I was needed to be. So, I ended up coming here and came in, and, those first couple of years, obviously tough just because like our seasons didn't go as well as we wanted to. For me, I was still coming back from injury that first year, and, nerves heal super slowly. So, you're dealing with a lot of stuff there. And just, you're coming in and it's a new place for like the 4th time, and you're having to adjust and get comfortable and all this stuff. But, so kind of like a little bit of some ups and downs those first 2 years I was here, with one, just our season and kind of being, disappointment not being where we wanted to be. And then 2, even for myself, trying to get back to being fully healthy again and just struggling with small injuries here and there throughout that first year. And then, coming back the next season and kind of the same thing. And so obviously rewind to, beginning of that last summer, and, we hired Sned to be our pitching coach here. And, I knew from the first time, like, I talked to him on the phone, like, just I could tell just how he was as a person, how he was as a coach, and just was able to develop a really good relationship with him. And, kind of came in this last fall, and he poured into me a ton. And it was just cool because, I don't know, just the environment we had, like, it was just, we were all really close, all the pitchers, all the staff. I was really close with Coach Sned, and he did so much for me, just helping me like make some, simple adjustments and kind of getting me to where I knew I could be. And just led into an awesome year. And I couldn't have done it without him or a lot of my teammates. So
that's awesome. I remember when he first got hired, I had like just graduated in December. And so I'm, trying to pursue this new career of being a sideline reporter, pushing out things. And so I filmed something with baseball, and then he was like one of the first people to like my tweets and retweet it. And so I was like, this guy just got hired. I was like, how did he find my stuff? That's so weird. And so just kind of being like outsider opinion, I'm like, I don't even know this guy. I never had a conversation with him, but he just seems like someone that the baseball team needs, just because I love baseball. It's always just kind of been like a sport I've watched growing up. And so I like feel for y'all when you have like tough seasons. I'm like, I want y'all to do well and like have a lot of friends on the team. And so I'm like, I want y'all to do well, you know, and so to see him get hired, then, you know, whatever, he's liking my tweets, and I'm like, I like him. He's gonna do good things.
He's I always give him a hard time because, like, he'll, like, you know, reply. We've been joking about, like, kind of towards the end of the season, because he's like, he's you know, applied to a bunch of tweets and stuff like that, and he's always on it, you know.
Okay.
So it's funny, but he's yeah, it's funny.
Cool guy. Yeah. So, and was he like a big reason probably for you to stay on? Because I think I ran into you at a coffee shop, which I think you, Cole Stasio, and someone else was there doing Bible study.
And I remember. Yeah.
Yes, I remember running into you, and I was like, oh my gosh, are you to come back? Like, and you were like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I was like,
what
do you mean you don't know? Like, you know, like, because you had a senior night, like, walk through that, just all the emotions.
Yeah, it was, so obviously, like, we didn't have a pitching coach, and, you know, I was trying to decide, like, I had a lot going on, because it was like, well, you know, I knew I wanted to keep playing, but it was like, okay, do I, you know, try to go, you know, train and see if I can sign and get picked up and play pro ball, and, you know, wasn't going to be a great avenue that way. I mean, I could have done it, but there wasn't a ton of, like, the situation I was in. And then another thing was I had another year of eligibility, supposedly, but my medical red shirt year had never been, like, filed, I guess. And so I was
how does that happen?
I don't know. Well, see, what's crazy is I thought that whole season I played, like, the roster everywhere said I was a junior, like, everything. And then, like, I get to, like, a week before senior day, and they're like, hey, like, compliance says you don't have any more eligibility. I was like, okay, well, that's news to me. I wish I would have found out a little sooner, but I didn't. And then, so that was a whole process. And I also was like, I didn't know if I wanted to come back, because I wasn't really sure, you know, what it was going to look like with the staff and the pitching coach and all of those things. And yeah, Sned got hired, and, you know, I got to talk to him a couple of times, and just kind of his vision that he had for me and had for the staff and the program, like, really resonated with me. Super authentic, honest, and just, yeah, it kind of, like, made my decision pretty easy. I graduated that spring and so, you know, I could have grad transferred, but then again, I was like, I love the guys at Baylor. I've loved what this place has done for me, despite, you know, maybe some adversities with baseball. You know, there's been so much I've had poured into me here. And so, like, I wanted to be a Baylor if I could. And it, crazy enough, like, last minute, like, all worked out with the eligibility in July, and then Sned got hired, and I loved him immediately. And I was like, yeah, like, I know this is where I want to come back and play my last year. So it was a crazy process. And I remember talking to you, and at that point I genuinely was like, I might not even be playing anymore. Wow. I don't know. So to go from that to just, like, have this season with these guys as a team, you know, it's kind of crazy to me, because this time last year I was genuinely not even sure if I was going to come back and play or if I was just going to be done. So, and
that's just such an emotional roller coaster too, of, again, like, you're thinking about so many other things. You're like, I just want to play baseball. You know, why is this
all happening
all at once? Lots of big decisions. And I mean, I'm sure, I don't even know, like, you played JUCO. So do you have more eligibility that, like, you could technically use?
I wouldn't if I did. I don't care. I'm done. I've done my time playing in college, but it's time for me to move on. I don't, because I don't know how that all works, but yeah, guys are getting that junior college years back.
Because we had a girl, Manuela, she's from Cameroon, but started a JUCO, had her senior night, she's our class, like, all the emotions, and then graduates, like, literally walks on stage, and then this new JUCO thing passes, and she's like, honestly, yeah, like, I want to go play pro. It would do me more benefit to have another year of college ball. And so she's back, and she's on roster, and she's playing, and I'm like, girl, we literally hung your jersey up. You know what I mean? Like, you're done. Like, I can't imagine.
Well, that's the same thing for some of the guys on the team this year that they thought they were coming here to Baylor as a transfer, and we're going to have 1 year. Yeah. And they passed the junior college thing, and it's like, oh, well, I can actually come back. And so it's crazy. I don't think I have one of those. I would not. You don't want one? I don't want one. They can give it to somebody else. But
that's funny.
Yeah. So
that's good. Kind of talked about it, that Baylor, you feel like it's given you a lot. And I think Baylor's, I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I think Baylor is a special place.
Really
it brings
is,
a lot of athletes here that it totally switches of how they see their sport and how the way they play it. And just Baylor, I mean, I can say this, like, I definitely am a testament of, I definitely am a Baylor athlete. Like, it's changed my life for the better. The Lord was so kind in the way my journey played out at Baylor. Like, looking back, the girls going through the recruiting process right now, I would not have made it at Baylor just with roster cuts, no walk-ons. Like, I would not be on the roster. So the Lord was so kind to me in that process. Kind of talk about your walk with the Lord through that, and then your team. I mean, I saw pictures of guys getting baptized on the field, like saw y'all doing a Bible study in a coffee shop. Not that the baseball team wasn't doing that before, because they were my freshman year, but wasn't as like outspoken. I remember I was a part of FCA and I was a leader at FCA, and it was like pulling teeth to get baseball guys to come. I mean, Court Castle was great, and he came for like a couple of times, but it was like, why are we going? This doesn't, you know, our guys aren't here, whatever. So kind of talk about your faith journey. And
you know, I was blessed. I grew up in an amazing family and kind of had all that, but you know, I definitely like got to college, and you kind of you went to junior college and you get around a bunch of different people, and then, you know, all that kind of stuff I was going through, just with, you know, surgeries and transfers and like just so much stuff, right? And I just kind of felt like this, I kind of like grown a little more distant in that, and I hadn't been super intentional, and it was hard too, because it was like a lot of doubt for me, because it was like, you know, I'm trying to trust your plan, I'm trying to do all this stuff, and you know, I just kept hitting road bumps, you know, kept hitting walls, and it was like I just again and again and again, but looking back, you know, when I got to Baylor, I honestly was like, I don't even know why I'm at Baylor right now. Like, I didn't even want to come here. Like, you know, at first, like that's generally like my emotions when I first got here. I was like, you know, like I don't know, I'm here, you know, but I was really having just a lot of like doubt about a lot of different things. And, you know, just like some of the people that the Lord put in my life, coming here to Baylor, like with my roommates and just guys on the team that just poured into me and my faith. And like, you know, my roommate Cole Posey really like poured into my faith a ton. And, you know, it was cool because, you know, I kind of came in and we did that. And there's such a cool community here, of, you know, just believers and
lots of resources.
A lot of resources, right? And so, you know, my roommate at the time when I first got here, Cole was like, hey, like, you know, in my past school, I did like a small Bible study, but I really been like wanting to like start a Bible study. Like, would you want to do that with me? And I was like, yeah, like absolutely, I'd love to. So me and him were able to kind of come in, and, you know, we had a pretty new team. You know, a lot of guys left with the new coaching staff, and kind of able to start this Bible study, and do that for those first 2 years. And it was really, really cool just to see, you know, not only some of the older guys that came in immediately and that were there, but just even like to be able to pour into some of like the freshmen, you know, that came in that year, and just to kind of try to be an influence to them. And, you know, it really grows you close as teammates. And, you know, like Cole Stasio as well, like me and him got to do Bible study all this year, since my other roommate had graduated. And, you know, it was just different this year. It was really cool. Just we had so many guys that really wanted to come and be a part of it. And, you know, our chaplains, Bob and Byron, like they did an incredible job with that, and just pouring into those guys, and kind of seeing some of these, you know, younger guys really start to like grow in their faith. That's the coolest part of all of this to me, and playing baseball is like, you know, I know that I've had a ton of people influence my life and my faith in Jesus, and just having an opportunity to do that to other people is, I think, like one of the reasons I like want to play this game, right? And, you know, kind of coming into this fall, and then at the end of the fall, you know, Cole had this idea, because some of the guys were talking about it, like wanting to get baptized, and it was awesome. We cool. At the end of the fall got to baptize some of those guys on the field, and insane. Teammates got to baptize each other, and that was probably the coolest thing I've ever seen on a baseball field, you know, because that's, you know, the biggest decision you're ever going to make. And, you know, I'm not perfect in any way, but being able to like, at least, you know, be an influence the best I could, and have a lot of other guys that had that heart on the team was just special. I hadn't really seen that before anywhere else I'd been. And that was really instrumental to me, even this season, just, and giving the glory to God and just having the perspective to look back and see like all the things I went through and all the times like, you know, you're like, you still start to doubt again, but then you can look back and be like, you know, like why do I doubt, you know?
Yeah.
And so just kind of having that, and then just seeing just the passion a lot of those guys had for Christ was really cool, and being able to be a part of those guys getting baptized.
I mean, that's kind of props to y'all too, of just wanting to plant those seeds, and cool to see like how Cole Posey like started this, and then he even gets to kind of see the fruit of that the following season. He's not even on roster anymore.
Yeah,
you know, I think
it's really awesome.
It's really cool. I think that's something Coach Mack like reminded me of I kind of went through a time I was like, I don't know if I want to play anymore, or like I'm kind of done, whatever. And I was like, this sounds so selfish. I was like, but if y'all go to the Final Four next year and I'm not on the roster, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah,
like,
I'm gonna be
so mad. And he was like, Faith, you'll be there at the celebration with us, like because you planted those seeds to help get us there.
Yeah.
And so that's something I've always kind of held on to as well. I'm like, okay, whatever I'm doing now and whatever I do in my previous whatever, like I'm still a Baylor volleyball player. I still get to pour into this program. I still get to see fruit of that. And I just think it's really sweet. Like we both played in like really competitive club teams growing up. And so I'm hopefully get one of my best friends on. She was a libero at Clemson. It's in the works. We'll get her on the podcast. So she'll come on. But, you know, I mean, she was really, really good. And so she went to Clemson and she's like, dude, I had a great experience. Started like, didn't make the tournament, but like we did well at my last season. They had a winning season. And I was like, that's awesome. I got to see teammates come to Jesus, you know, and go to the Sweet 16 and do all of this.
Yeah,
and so that was just really sweet of like, okay, like we're changing lives. And you don't remember like, okay, we went to the Sweet 16. Like, I remember getting to host, but you don't remember a whole lot. But I remember a lot more memories of team retreat and girls going to get baptized and going to Europe together. And sure, we played volleyball, but we just more hung out and got to share the gospel with other people in different countries. Like, that's what sports is about, you know?
It really is. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You always hear other people say it, and you're like, you know, maybe, but you really do start to realize it on the back end. Like, you're not going to remember like every pitch you threw or, you know, at bat you had. Like, the things that you remember and like you cherish the most about it is the time you got to spend with your teammates, you know, the time you got to pour into them and they poured into you, and like just like seeing people grow in their faith and all of those different things. Like, that's what's really special to me. And that's what's special about this place. And that's what I'm like super grateful for more than anything. You know, 'cause that's something you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. And it really does like just build such a good foundation, you know, moving forward. At least it did for me. So
I think it's really cool. And from like a male perspective too, you know, like I have a brother, and so I'm like, I want him to like grasp everything that's good and like have a great foundation. And so I think that as a sister, I'm like, okay, like there's baseball teams doing it. Like it can happen.
It can, yeah.
So I think that's awesome. But you had a great season. So you're entering the draft.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be like a dream for you.
It is. It is.
Like walking through that, and that's coming up. So I'm sure you've been doing a lot of prep work. And do you have a dream team that you would want to go? I mean, I don't know if you want to say that, but do you have
maybe I shouldn't say it. No, honestly, you know? I don't really have a, you know, everybody grows up, like I grew up a Rangers fan my whole life, right? But it's been my dream to go play professional baseball for a long time, and to go in the draft and to have that opportunity. And, you know, I think that's for a lot of kids, like you grow up wanting to do that. And so for me, just to kind of see, you know, the perspective of everything I've gone through, and like, this is not what I thought it was going to look like. I didn't think I'd be this old, you know, by the time it happened. But it's really cool, and it makes me really grateful. And, you know, looking back now, I think all those different things I went through really prepared me well. I'm so excited. Yeah, I mean, it's coming up quick. I got like a week left. So, and I could end up anywhere really. So I'm excited about there's a lot of like unknowns, but you know, at the end of the day, you're still playing baseball just like you always do. So that part I'm excited about, and getting to do that for a living is not a lot of people can, you know, play a kid's game for a living. So that's really cool.
I mean, I'm just excited to watch you and like go through that process. And yeah, we're excited for you. But so everyone that comes on my podcast, you are the first one that gets to do this in season 2. But everyone on my podcast, they get to answer this question. If you could write a letter to sports, what would you say and why?
Yeah. Don't know if we have time for all of it, but let's see. Say, dear sports, I am so grateful for all the memories that you've brought me. You think you would remember all the accolades or the wins or the big moments on the field, which you do a little bit, but for me, I'm most grateful for all the friendships and the teammates that I've built over the years, for all the adversity I've gone through and how much it's taught me about myself and about my faith. And lastly, just the influence, the platform it's given me to influence others for Christ. And yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah, just I love it. I love sports, and it's so much fun. So
yeah,
and it's a lot more than just a win or a loss, I would say.
No, absolutely. Well, Gabe, thanks so much for coming on today. Best of luck to you. I'm excited to watch you in draft and just in life. You're going to kill it. And so I'm thankful to know you as a friend and being so willing to come on for our season 2. But thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I was super pumped I could be here. Yeah. Thanks, Faith.
Absolutely.
Yeah.